Hey team, welcome back to another Tuesday email. A few things up front. First off, tomorrow is our Illuminate baptism, and we also have what we call a Salivate, which is a dinner for all of our leaders. You can come at 5:30, we eat dinner, and then we talk about upcoming things in the next months to come. And then next week on Wednesday, there is no Resonate here on the church property, and there's no Gravitate houses, but there is a Plan, Protect meeting that is happening. And I just want to encourage you guys to come out to that. Plan to Protect is our abuse prevention plan, and every leader needs to go through that. So on April 1st, we're meeting from 6:30 to 8:30, and we're going through that process. So please come out to that. Now, what I really want to talk to you about today is about our groups, and specifically about our students and their experience. Now, quick story for you. I'm a big camp guy. Just as an aside, this has nothing to do with the email necessarily, but I'm a big camp guy, and I really think that in the summertime, there's no better place for a student to be either at a Christian camp or on a short-term mission trip. So I celebrate those things. If you have students that are doing those things, just encourage them, and yeah, whatever you can do to encourage your students to do that, that's awesome. But that's not what I'm talking about. I went to camp all through my years. I remember going to one camp called Ontario Pioneer Camp. I traveled from Thunder Bay, Ontario to the Muskoka area, which is like a 14-hour drive. And I went there as a 16-year-old for a leader in training camp. Now, because I was from Thunder Bay, I was an outsider. And being an outsider, you know, there was this whole group that grew up at this camp, and they went to Woodland Challenge, which is what you do when you're 15, and then they went to the leader in training when they were 16. They were fun to hang out with. We were kind of friends and all that. But I never really established deep friendships there. In fact, I remember one friendship that I established. I thought, okay, we're pretty close friends. Maybe I'll continue to write letters with this buddy of mine. And when I went back to Thunder Bay, my best friend, and you've heard my story before, actually, he died in a car accident, not from Pioneer, but from my hometown, Thunder Bay. So I wrote these friends from Pioneer and said, hey, this is what's happened. I'm not in the greatest spot. And I never got a response back. So I guess I decided I'm not going to go back to that camp because I don't really have friends there. Now, 3 years later, I met another friend, Christian guy, and he came to the university that I was going to, called Lakehead University in Thunder Bay. And he said, hey, Joel, you should really come out to Ontario Pioneer Camp. And I was like, oh, I've been there, I've done that. I don't really want to do that again. And I have my own reasons, didn't tell him. And he said, well, they really need an archery director. The truth is they've never had an archery director before or after me, but he was trying to get me to come. So eventually I was like, okay, I'll come, I'll do archery directing. And I can remember my experience there when I came back. And let me tell you about that. I had just got my wisdom teeth out, and I got what's called a dry pocket or socket, not sure what it's called. And I started getting a bulge from infection in my cheek. And the assistant director, he took the time out to take me across the lake, meet up with a doctor who was still practicing, got me the meds, then took me into town, got the meds. And then I can remember that night I was like, oh, I was laying down in my chalet, which was across camp from the nurse's station, thinking, oh, I should go to the nurse's station and get my meds, but I'm too tired, I'm just gonna go to sleep. And I hear this guy calling my name. And he had come from across the camp, which is a fair distance in this camp, it's a pretty big camp, and he had brought me a Coca-Cola and my meds. And to me, that made a huge difference. That changed my perspective on Ontario Pioneer Camp. Now, we have a whole bunch of students. We, I think, had 269 students in our groups since September, both in Gravitate houses in senior high and our small groups in junior high that we've registered. And not all of them have come back. Now, some of them have been in your groups and they attended September, October, maybe November, some all the way to December, and then they just stopped coming. My challenge for us is to reconnect with those students. Maybe they had a bad experience. Maybe they have hockey. Maybe they have ballet. Maybe they just stopped making it a rhythm and we just don't know. What I want to encourage you to do is to find out why and to invite them back. We have 2 months left with these kids before we have our summer, and I just want to encourage you, if we don't capitalize on these 2 months, we could miss out on some life transformation that happens to these students, and that I really believe that Jesus wants to do through us. So I'm going to be sending out kind of your group lists, and look for, the last time they attended, and see, maybe there's some phone calls or emails you need to make, because these students really need you as a leader to do that. So thank you for your time. I realize this is a little longer, but you got to hear a story about me, which is awesome, when I was sad and then not. So thanks for your time. We'll see you tomorrow at Salivate. Goodbye.